Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Oral Reports. Now last year, I looked at Ruben Fleischer's zombie apocalypse comedy movie, Zombieland from 2009, which was, believe it or not, his directorial debut. And even though I never saw it in theaters back then, nowadays, I think it's a hilarious and kick-ass film. And it had a great and memorable main cast. But just last year, about 10 years after the first movie, a sequel was released. But is it any good? Well, let's find out. Released on October 18th, 2019, the movie is Zombieland Double Tap. So, let's get started. Taking place 10 years after the first film, zombie slayers Tallahassee, Columbus, Wichita, and Little Rock leave the confines of the White House to travel to Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. Along the way, they encounter other post-apocalyptic warriors and a group of survivors who find refuge in a commune. The scrappy fighters must now rely on their wits and weapons more than ever, as they soon find themselves in a relentless battle against smarter, faster, and seemingly indestructible zombies. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, I thought this movie was equally as great as the first film, and I think the whole darn decade was worth the wait. And to further explain why I love the sequel, let's move on to Mustang notes. After Zombieland's success in 2009, writers Rhett Reith and Paul Wernick soon planned a possible sequel, with many more ideas they wanted to explore. Additionally, they wanted to make the comedy into an enduring franchise. From this, they wrote a TV pilot starring a different cast. Released in April 2013 on Love Film and Amazon Video. At the time of the first film's release, Reese and Wernick said that they were not planning on an immediate sequel, due to being heavily involved with other writing projects. By November 2009, the original cast and director were all set to return, with Ruben Fleischer's enthusiastic about the idea of making a sequel in 3D. In 2010, Fleischer stated that he was working on the screenplay, and the creators had begun searching for another superstar cameo. On July 13, 2018, Zombieland Double Tap was officially greenlit by Sony Pictures, with Ruben Fleischer returning as director. Filming began on January 19, 2019 in Atlanta, Georgia. Primary production finished on March 15, 2019. The building used for the Babylon commune is located in Atlanta, near the Spaghetti Junction. It was used for the hotel for many years, and it is now abandoned. Now, firstly, I like that this movie features several plot holes from the first film, like the road trip, and I like the survival rule captions that randomly appear on screen. Also, there are captions for a few of the different types of zombies, like a Homer, which is a reference to the overrated Simpsons show, and the T-800, which is a reference to the Terminator franchise. Plus, I like that the film mostly takes place in Tennessee, and I can't believe it's been about 2 years since my last visit there. Also, I like the several different references to classic country and Elvis songs. Also, I think the Babylon is a peaceful-looking hipster paradise. And trust me, it looks way better than Gruvenia. Also, I like how the final zombie battle is done without guns. And now, let's move on to the cast. The main characters are as follows. Columbus, played by Jesse Eisenberg. Tallahassee, played by Woody Harrelson. Wichita, played by Emma Stone. And Little Rock, played by Abigail Breslin. To me, these guys are still memorable and badass characters, and I think their roles here are kind of similar, but a little different from the first movie. For example, Columbus is an expert survivalist who hopes to marry Wichita, and his rules featured in this movie are Ziploc bags, sunscreen, keep your hands to yourself, don't be afraid to ask for help, and wet naps. Also, I find it surprising that Columbus's favorite movie is Fantasia. Tallahassee is an overbearing father figure who sometimes overreacts when he's enraged, but on the positive side, his only survival rule is it takes a real man to drive a pink Cadillac. Wichita is an overprotective girl who feels kind of reluctant about being proposed, but I'm glad that later she realizes that she and Columbus are meant to be together. As for Little Rock, well, for being a 22-year-old, she wants to be independent. Now let's move on to the new characters, starting with Nevada. The owner of an Elvis-themed hotel, played by Rosario Dawson, whom I remember from Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Neverbeast, 2005's Rent, 2009's Wonder Woman movie, and several other DC animated films. Like most characters that Rosario Dawson plays, Nevada has a very forceful personality, but she also has a sense of loyalty to those that she likes, as evidenced by her rescue of Tallahassee. She's also obsessed with Elvis, and she has a fond of Bill Murray. Also, Nevada takes a liking to masculine men. Plus, I think her badass moment is when she drives a monster truck and uses it to squash many zombies during the final climax. This is Madison, a dumb blonde played by Zoe Deutsch, hope I'm pronouncing that right, who got to be in Vampire Academy and Beautiful Creatures. Madison is a typical airhead, having not even figured out how to turn off the Pinkberry freezer that she's been living in for an entire decade. However, she does have a great degree of peppy, childlike enthusiasm in everything that she does, to the point that she offsets the heavy sarcasm. Plus, Madison seems naive, stating that zombies are more afraid of people than people are of them. And she's more alert and observant than other characters, due to the fact that she is not distracted by any thoughts. Plus, Madison's rule for surviving Zombieland is to mostly stay in the freezer. Next we come to Flagstaff, played by Thomas Middleditch. Flagstaff is a cerebral survivalist, and he's a tad twitchy, but he has his own set of commandments for survival, like teamwork, confirm your kill, the world is your bathroom, avoid perishables, expect the unexpected, warm up, shade, cardiovascular fitness, and mind your manners. Flagstaff's partner, Albuquerque, is played by Luke Wilson, who got to be in My Super Ex-Girlfriend and Rock Dog. I find him to be a pretty gruff character, and his demeanor and many of his mannerisms are kind of similar to Tallahassee's. Last but not least, we have Berkeley, played by Avon Oglia. This guy is a pacifist, even in the face of undead hordes that he grew up around, and he has a mellow demeanor generally. Much of his persona is foul. However, such as his asserted passion for writing music, in actuality, he steals from artists such as Bob Dylan and Leonard Skinner, and passes off their songs as his own creations, relying on the ignorance of his peers and to hide the plagiarism. And now for my final words. Overall, Zombieland Double Tap is a real kick-ass sequel, and like I said earlier, the past 10 years were definitely worth the wait. Though I deeply regret not seeing it in theaters last year. The main characters are still as memorable as in the first film, and I think the actors still pull off a great performance. The road trip plot is nice, and the setting in Tennessee is pretty good too. But with the zombie-pandemic around, I think it's way worse than nowadays virus. Also, while the story may feel a tad rushed, like in the first film, the zombie battles are really hardcore, but gory in some parts. So, if you like Zombieland, then you'll definitely like this movie too. Though, I only recommend it for those who are 17 and older due to the R rating. As for my rating, I give this sequel a full 100%. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time as we delve into the DC universe to look at a movie where a group of supervillains take the center stage. Mustang Power.